I'm a high school student whose days are already spinning on a fast carousel: classes, extracurriculars, chores, juggling deadlines and responsibilities until every nerve hums with exhaustion. My limbs feel like damp cloth by evening, weighed down by fatigue. But then there's Avi, my 2-year-old Shorky, a tiny bundle of boundless energy who refuses to be ignored. If I try to let her slide past due for her walk, she'll become restless, her little paws skittering across the rug until she starts having accidents. And trust me, nothing wakes you up faster than smelling dog pee in the living room. Because I don't want that, my parents thrust the responsibility onto me, and somehow I make it work. That one night, though, it threw everything off balance. I'd stayed at a club event, the sort of gathering that felt fun but dragged its feet, and then the school buses lagged behind. By the time I trudged through the front door, the clock glowed 8:45, but with homework staring at me from the dining table and dishes to clear, I shooed Avi inside with a sigh and buried myself in chores first. I told myself, rationally, just finish this, then the walk. But tasks multiply like shadows, and soon it was pushing midnight. My body groaned, my mind heavy, heart drumming an erratic lullaby. But Avi, sweet, insistent, unrelenting Avi, pursued me in circles, whining, paws pawing at my legs, tail wagging desperately. My bones hurt, but I grabbed her leash anyway, because she needed it. The night air slapped my face as we stepped outside into our neighborhood, a quiet square dotted with faint lights. Street lamps blinked in and out like distant stars, the main road nearby bright enough, the inner lanes swallowed by shadows. We shuffled on, Avi pulling ahead, until I saw movement up ahead. A silhouette in a hoodie, the kind that makes your gut freeze. He had a cap underneath, his face impossible to read. A pit bull, or something close, it wasn't mine. Something in my chest tightened. Avi, who's usually calm, bent her body low and then snapped, barking, growling, body tense, hackles raised. The sound echoed like a warning shot. The man jerked his dog back, still staring. I felt raw edges of panic, pulsing in my temples. I pressed onward, trying to convince myself it was nothing. But every step felt heavier, the darkness pooling around me. I turned my head enough to see him again, standing, waiting at the edge of a streetlight, refusing to walk away. My blood throbbed in my ears. I crossed the road, trying to look casual, but when I glanced back, he was looking right at me. My whole body seized, as if frozen. Then instincts kicked in, I ran. Not sprinted. I tore down the road but veered toward a playground, hoping to lose him. The ground vibrated under my pounding shoes, heart hammering like a drum. I thought I'd lost him when I ducked into a narrow alley. For a moment, I held my breath, until Avi's collar jingled, and I heard him again. Footsteps, relentless, mounting. Panic coiled around my throat. I scooped her up, held her tight, and vaulted another fence, scrambling through tall grass. Main road lights dawned ahead like a promise. I sprinted toward them, lungs aflame. My phone lay dead in my pocket, no help from there. Terror slipped slick in my mind, squeezing. I screamed, sharp, raw. It sounded ridiculous against the night. But it shattered the silence. A car roared to life beside me. A neighbor, middle-aged woman, leaned out the window, alarm in her voice. The man chasing vanished as though swallowed by darkness. I collapsed on the pavement, breath gone, knees weak. Avi, ever unruffled, wagged her little tail like nothing had happened. Through adrenaline blurs I explained, and she drove me home. I'd never walk Avi that late again. And then there was another night, nearly a year ago, wrapped in a different kind of dread. I was limping from a twisted ankle, walked her girlfriend home, late. The streets were dead. The bus stops all but deserted. The only route was past a sprawling psychiatric hospital, a looming structure with more windows dark than lit, shadows pooling in its corners. The hospital grounds stretched wide, imposing, not made for walking alone at 2 a.m. I had my headphones on, beatboxing to stay awake, to ignore the pins in my ankle. As I passed the hospital gates, a man stood at the edge of the bus stop. Completely still. No phone, no blood in his stance, just waiting. I forced my eyes past him, telling myself it was nothing. But then there it was, that sound, footsteps behind me, the rhythm matching my own. I veered sharply into a cul-de-sac, ran on shaky limbs. He followed. My makeshift route wove through fences and lawns I knew by heart. I feigned heading to a building entrance, then vaulted a fence and ran across open grass. My breath came in ragged bursts. I didn't stop until I faded into safer lights. Back in my room, ankle throbbing, heart still in my throat, I realized how close fear had become. Then when I was 15, there was that one night, my best friend's sleepover turned wrong. We ended up at Jack's place, after dark, strangers, booze, and drama. A drunk girl clung to me, sobbing about heartbreak. I stayed when my friends left, and everything narrowed to cold night air and poison-sharp dread. I walked home alone, darkness bending around me. A car roared in. I crossed before it did, but it screeched to a halt, headlights slicing the night. I dove into bushes, shadows consuming me. The car crept down the road, headlights scanning like hungry eyes. It circled, came back, slowed. I couldn't breathe. When it finally left, I bolted, pounding toward my friend's porch. I slipped in just as the car came flying back. Jade threw the door open, my lifeline. The next morning, Talia's mom, pale, showed us a newspaper article. A woman stalker had been arrested nearby. Same color car, same timing. My hands shook as I read. I'd played it off as teenage drama, but it had been so much more. A faint realization bloomed. I'd been lucky. A night earlier than that, when I was 14, it was just me and a neighbor's dog, quiet. I took him for a walk, feeling calm, until I saw a van parked ahead, engine off, 2 men inside. As soon as they saw me, one of them got out, began walking in my direction, pacing across the street in step with me. There was that terrible weight in my chest, like a stone sinking. I clutched the keys, my fingers twisting them into an ache. He mirrored my steps. When he started to cross, hand-reaching, something snapped, my feet scurried faster, and I bolted for cover. Through gardens, under hedges, until I spotted a storm drain opening. I squeezed inside, curled in the cold darkness, heart thudding loud enough to echo. I slept in that pipe, half minutes drenched as hours, until engines died and the night fell quiet. Crawling out, I raced home. I never told my parents, but the echo of that fear stayed with me. Every time a van idles nearby, I feel it again. My mother told me another story. A routine walk, around midnight, one of her rare moments of solitude. The neighborhood was quiet, but she noticed a dark pickup pass her, turn around in a driveway, pass again. The driver's gaze locked on her. Once more, brights shining, and she felt the heat of attention prickling her skin. Instead of heading home, she slipped into yards, pressed against a shed, the cold night wrapping around her. She watched the truck circle, slow, pause. Then leave. She stayed hidden until she dared to move again. After that, she never walked that route again. And once, younger still, I walked home at 3 a.m., from a friend's empty house. Our neighborhood half-built, shadowed, silent, only gravel underfoot. My eyes caught someone at the edge of a driveway, blending with the trash bins. Every nerve stood on edge. I stumbled on a rock, skidding across gravel, knee open. When I looked up, an old man with white hair and beard, sunken eyes. He gripped my shoulders. Whispered, "Hello." My blood iced. Instinct ripped me free and I ran. He didn't follow. He just watched. I slammed inside, told my mom. She called the police. He didn't match any offender. Nothing came of it. But I never walked that route again, and sometimes I dream I see him, silent, in the dark.